Even though we have a visit from ministry in Honduras, maybe even there they would understand a little bit more about sheep than we do here in Arlington, Texas. Although this is Texas, so we have a chance. Okay? But how do you follow God when you're in the valleys of life? You know, the mountaintops are easy. It's the valleys that are hard. Probably not too many of us know very much about raising sheep. I knew a man who edited a sheep industry magazine. I don't know if it was this one. There's 6 or 8 or 10 of them across this country. He was in central Ohio, and so we had some family dealings together. So every once in a while I'd have dinner with him, and mostly what we discussed was how dumb sheep are, and that they required constant attention. The text today discusses a structure called a sheep pen. And sheep pen is a circle of stones or sticks or a natural enclosure in which there was only one way out. This guy is standing at a gate, and there's a few sheep in this pen. You could probably have a couple of herds there. So anything by which there was only one way in and out. And they would put a person at the gate or a person in the opening, and several herds could be held in safety while the shepherds could go into town for food, for a bath, perhaps some Lutheran lemonade, and other things like that. When they'd come back, they would call their sheep, who would be glad to get out and follow that shepherd. There was no branding because, remember, you're selling the wool, so you certainly don't want to burn a brand into that and have some wool that you couldn't sell. So it was just the voice. Now, only that particular shepherd's sheep would follow him. They're a little, like I said before, they're dumb, but they are auditory. And so you could sing and talk and laugh. Remember, being a shepherd, kind of a lonely life. After all, there were no iPads, cell phones, you know. You were kind of your own entertainment system, which is why a shepherd boy is the one that discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls in, I think, 1949. Because what do you do when sheep are eating grass? So he's chucking rocks in these caves across the way and listening to how they roll down into the cavern. Well, then he throws a rock and it goes clink instead of, you know, that nice echo sound. And he wonders what in the world is in there. And that's how they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, which verified not only Isaiah, but a lot of the Old Testament, very important in biblical studies and verifying our Christian faith and the source materials for who Jesus was and all of those kinds of things that go before the New Testament. So if they're not rescuing sheep, there's not much to do. So you invent things, and of course, you know, you kind of, well, when you putter around the house, don't you talk to yourself a little bit every once in a while? Don't raise your hand, it's okay. You know. You know. And so Jesus tells the parable of this kind of shepherding out there, but they didn't understand. They didn't get it. The Pharisees are... I don't understand why they didn't get it, but because you and I do, but we're on the other side of the empty tomb. Perhaps it's the way we are sometimes in church, or maybe just the people in the first service. Nobody here, I'm sure, but it's background noise. It's a comfort. It's when you're home alone, sometimes you turn on the TV so you don't feel so alone. To have something there. Sheep don't sing along with the shepherd boy. They don't know the tune. They don't know the words, you know. And while sheep are in the pen at night, like this pen, this is a much bigger pen, hold a lot more sheep. You still only got one way in and out. But at night, a robber could climb over that back wall and steal some sheep. We have a saying here in Texas, you know, like a cow staring at a new gate. You know, they're just dumbfounded. They don't move. Well, that's the way sheep would be with a new person coming in, especially the little lambs. Be easy to grab a couple and climb back over the wall, make off with them. You know, it's food. It's dollars on the hoof. You know, that's the way trade was. We weren't looking at, you know, going to the bank. You know, they'd bring a couple of sheep in and trade them for what they needed. According to the USDA, as of April 28, 2017, you can get between $75 and $220 for a sheep because they weigh between 90 and 160 pounds. So that's why you'd steal the lambs, because they were lighter. And if you were going to sell them, you'd get immediate money. But if you were going to build your own herd, you know, the wool, there would be, depending upon the size of the sheep, you'd get $8 to $10 a pound for the, you know, for the wool, and one sheep would give you about 20 pounds. So 20 pounds times $10 a pound, you do the math. They don't let me count the offerings either, because I'm a theologian, not a mathematician. Now, the very fine wool, merino wool, as we all know, made into great sweaters and that sort of thing, they don't sell that by the pound. They sell that by the ounce. It's the half pound is $16 as of April 28, 2017, according to the USDA. And we know a merino wool sweater starts at about $200. So we're talking dollars here. We're talking somebody's life. We're talking all those kinds of things that legitimate shepherds would make sure that they did it right. They weren't taking advantage of the helplessness, especially of the lambs. But as you look at this gate, this sheep pen, Jesus clarifies, because the Pharisees didn't understand, and he said, I am the gate. It's usually the lowliest job done by the youngest shepherd. What do they need to go to town for anyway? Most 12-year-old boys don't want to take a bath. Right? Well, I know I didn't. Man, I'd rather go out and play or stay away, you know. And the least likely to be able to defend the sheep from either the robbers or the wildlife that would come and feast on them is the one who was there supposedly defending them. And Jesus takes that job, the lowest job, the punishment of the cross. He sacrifices himself for the sheep he deeply cares about. He went to the cross for you and me. Instead of letting us be carried off, he sacrifices himself in our place. Think about that. Jesus, second person of the Trinity, who was there when everything was created and they thought it all up. He's pretty smart, right? Now think about us trying to figure a few things out. And you can see why he calls us sheep. Because we're not. I mean, Jesus invented all the insects and all their phylums and all the categories they go into. I don't even know all the phylums, let alone create a new one. You know, you heard the old joke about the scientists that finally went to God and said, hey, we finally figured it out. We know how to create life. And God says, oh, really? He says, yeah. And the scientist reaches down and grabs some dirt. And God says, where are you going? He said, I'm going to create life. And God says, no, get your own dirt. I mean, when you think about it, he's pretty smart, and we're pretty sheepy. Here's the point of the parable, and I don't want you to miss it. I'm the gate. Whoever comes in through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. When things are going well, it's really easy to follow Jesus. It's when we come up against difficult situations that we realize our need to have listened. I don't know how this sheep got there. I don't know what he was thinking. And I imagine that sheep is making a little bit of a noise. They call it bleating. And the nervous beating of its own heart. Sometimes when things are going awry for us in our lives, and there's more months at the end of the money, and there's a relationship that's fallen apart, and there's a dire diagnosis medically, and there is a change in the neighborhood, and there is no response coming from Washington or Congress, you know, those kinds of things, to hear God's calm call as a shepherd who, when he's saying, I'm here, I will rescue you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to lead you to a better place. We get in our own way too many times. And the best thing for us to do in those times is to listen. To listen to the shepherd. To return and to follow. The shepherd gets the sheep off the dangerous rocks of life. And the peace that Jesus gives, the peace that passes all understanding. We can't figure him out, but don't forget he's pretty smart. The peace that passes all understanding keeps us in everlasting life. And that's why he gets the glory. Amen.